Welcome back to Active Directory Unlocked, the podcast dedicated to demystifying the complexities of Active Directory security and empowering you to build a more resilient digital fortress. In our last episode with Alpesh, we meticulously removed the attacker's primary reconnaissance tools, effectively taking away their map of your network. But what if, despite your best efforts to secure the perimeter and obscure the landscape, the attacker finds a secret, often overlooked tunnel right into the heart of your systems? What if the map they thought they had was never the real danger, but rather a misconfigured side entrance they could exploit? Today we're diving deep into some of the most insidious and commonly abused attack vectors, broken trust, specifically focusing on the often misunderstood vulnerabilities inherent in misconfigured group policy objects, or GPOs, and access control lists known as ACLs. Imagine an attacker has gained a foothold, however small, on one of your workstations. They're inside the network, but they're feeling a bit lost, perhaps without the full administrative privileges they crave. They're looking for shortcuts, for avenues to escalate their access and move laterally. And alarmingly often, they find these critical shortcuts in two frequently neglected yet immensely powerful areas of Active Directory: Group Policy Objects, or GPOs, and Access Control Lists, or ACLs. These aren't obscure zero-day exploits. They're often misconfigurations of features designed for legitimate administrative control.
Exactly, Jess. Let's break that down. Think of a GPO as a comprehensive rulebook that dictates how computers and users within your Active Directory domain behave. These rulebooks can enforce everything from password complexity to software installations. And crucially, even define startup scripts and scheduled tasks that run with elevated privileges. An attacker who can maliciously modify one of these rulebooks, even if they only have what appears to be low-level access initially, can add a devastatingly simple, yet incredibly effective new rule. Run my malicious code with full administrative privileges on every machine where this GPO applies. It's not about finding a bug in the GPO engine. It's about exploiting misdelegated permissions on the GPO itself. This allows for a persistent and widespread compromise, offering a devastatingly simple way to take over an entire fleet of servers or workstations, often without triggering traditional endpoint security alerts. It's a silent, pervasive takeover.
An ACLs? How do they fit into this picture of broken trust?
An ACL, or access control list, is even more fundamental and perhaps even more deceptively simple. It's essentially a permission slip attached to almost every object within Active Directory: user accounts, groups, OUS, and even other GPOs. This permission slip dictates who can do what to that specific object. Now, what if, through an oversight or a legacy configuration, the help desk group was accidentally given a permission slip that explicitly states you have full control over the domain admins group, or perhaps even more subtly, they have generic write permissions on a critical service account? The attacker, who might have only compromised a low privilege help desk account, doesn't need to engage in complex password cracking or exploit sophisticated vulnerabilities to hack the domain admins. They simply walk up, metaphorically speaking, show their legitimate but overly permissive permission slip, and write their own name or the name of a user they control onto the member list of the domain admins group. That's the core of the threat here. It's not a bug in Active Directory's design. It's a powerful, legitimate feature being abused due to misconfiguration or accidental overprivileging. It's a trusted path to compromise, built into your own infrastructure.
The defense against these insidious attacks, against the silent abuse of trust and accidental privilege escalation, lies in a fundamental shift in mindset. It's a concept I've come to call intentional delegation. This isn't just about technical controls. It's a philosophical approach to security. It means you treat every single permission you grant within Active Directory, whether it's on a GPO, an OU, or a user object, as if you are literally handing someone a loaded, cocked, and unlocked gun. You don't do it by accident. You certainly don't do it for convenience, cutting corners. And most critically, you always, unequivocally, document who has that gun, why they have it, and what specific legitimate business need it serves. This rigor transforms delegation from a routine task into a security-critical operation.
That analogy is absolutely spot on, Jess. You need to operate under the constant and unwavering assumption that every permission you grant, no matter how minor it seems at the time, could one day, under the right circumstances, become a critical part of an attacker's path to compromise. This proactive, almost paranoid mindset forces you to be incredibly deliberate and minimalistic in your approach to privilege assignment. If a user, a service account, or even an administrative group doesn't have a compelling, thoroughly documented, and regularly reviewed business need for a specific permission, they simply don't get it. Period. It's not about least privilege as a nice to have. It's about absolute minimum necessary privilege as a non-negotiable security imperative. This includes understanding the inherited permissions, the cumulative effect of group memberships, and the subtle ways permissions can chain together to grant unexpected access.
All right, listeners, ready for the practical makeover? It's time to roll up our sleeves and perform a comprehensive permissions cleanup. This isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing hygiene process.
First, and perhaps most critically, audit your GPO delegation with a fine-tooth comb. Go through every single group policy object in your domain. For each one, ask yourself, who exactly can edit this GPO? Who has permissions to modify its settings, add scripts, or link it to OUS? If the answer isn't a very small, highly controlled, and meticulously trusted group of top-level Active Directory administrators, then you unequivocally have a significant security problem. These GPOs are powerful levers into your network. Identify any excessive or accidental delegation and fix it immediately. This often means removing inherited permissions and implementing explicit, granular, write permissions only to the truly authorized. Second, and this is where you start thinking like an attacker to defend effectively, hunt for those dangerous ACLs. Don't rely solely on native AD tools for this. Leverage the tools that attackers themselves use to discover these weaknesses. Tools like Bloodhound are invaluable here. Run specific queries that are designed to uncover highly dangerous permissions like generic write, full control, or even all extended rights on critical Active Directory objects, such as domain admin groups, enterprise admin groups, or even sensitive user accounts and OUS. These are the secret tunnels we talked about. When you find them, don't just note them. Remove them immediately, or reconfigure them to the absolute minimum required. This requires a deep understanding of Active Directory permissions and inheritance. So don't rush this step.
And finally, a foundational pillar of Active Directory security: protect your privileged groups. This is about defending the crown jewels.
Precisely. Active Directory has a built-in, often underutilized, security feature called admin SD holder. Think of admin SD holder as an unyielding, diligent security guard that stands watch specifically in front of your most critical administrative groups, like domain admins, enterprise admins, schema admins, and account operators. Every 60 minutes, by default, this security guard wakes up, checks the permissions on these protected groups, and if it finds any unauthorized, non-standard, or inherited permission changes that deviate from a predefined template, it automatically reverts them. It acts as a powerful self-healing mechanism to ensure these high-privilege groups retain their intended tightly controlled security descriptors. Make absolutely certain that admin SD holder is properly configured, that it's enabled, and that it's diligently protecting all the right people. And by right people, I mean your most critical administrative accounts and groups. This feature is your last line of defense against accidental or malicious permission creep on your most valuable targets.
This has been an incredibly insightful session on locking down those often overlooked avenues of attack. Join us next time when we get to the absolute heart of the kingdom, the master key itself. We're talking credential theft, curb roasting, and forging tickets. The ultimate path to full domain compromise. You won't want to miss it.